Hi, my name's Paul Sargent, and I'm here to talk to you about the AP Euro redesign. And I've done some videos about this, but today I'm going to take a look at 5 challenges that I've already found in implementing this redesign. And so this is kind of aimed at teachers, challenges you might want to think about. And I'm doing this because a lot of people are freaking out about this stuff online. A lot of people are worried about how to implement this redesign, and many people aren't able to go to summer institutes. So I'm here to help. And this is just my thoughts. So here are 5 challenges that I see with implementing this redesign. Challenge number 1 is that this is going to be a little bit confusing for students and for teachers. For us, it's going to be confusing because we're teaching things in slightly different order than we're used to. And so we really have to change the way that we're doing things. But it's also going to be confusing for students because rather than a march through the pages of the textbook, this is going to have them leaping all over the place. Now, in order to get ready for this, there are some things that I would have with me. Number 1, a copy of the redesign. Or you could do what I've done and take this thing, print it out, put it in a nice little folder that you can mark up and make use of it. Number 2, you're going to need a copy of your textbook because aligning this thing with the textbook is going to be a little bit difficult. And number 3, gotta have your brain with you because sort of working through this and figuring out where everything fits is going to be a challenge. Challenge number 2, aligning this with your textbook. Okay? Because a lot of these concepts are sort of out of order and we're going to be jumping chapters, you have to figure out what pages to assign students to read in order to align with the curriculum. Now, if you're using the Spielvogel textbook, you can go to my website at www.sargnotes.com where I've done a lot of this work for you. Now look, this is just my opinion, this is my interpretation, this is not perfect, but a lot of the legwork is done, so go check it out. 3 has to do with chronological thinking. All right, this challenge is that we're supposed to teach our students to think about things chronologically. However, sometimes, well, a lot of the time, the curriculum redesign doesn't go chronologically, it's a little more thematic, which doesn't always pose a problem, but in this case it does. If you follow the curriculum redesign, you're going to teach about the English Civil War and the Stuart Dynasty, and then you're going to kind of leave everything with the death of Cromwell. Then you're going to do some other stuff, and then you're going to come back and you're going to say, oh, now it's time to talk about the Reformation, and oh, let's talk about Henry VIII and the Tudor Dynasty. So it's completely backwards. Now that doesn't mean it can't be done, and that doesn't mean that you can't make the connections, but it kind of puts things a little bit out of a chronological perspective from that standpoint. Challenge number 4 is another chronological problem. We're going to talk about absolutism, and in that, we're going to then talk about enlightened absolutism. And when you talk about enlightened absolutism, like you'd like to know what enlightenment is all about. However, that's in the curriculum redesign after enlightened absolutism. So you basically go from here are these absolute rulers to here are these rulers who tried to take on the ideals of the Enlightenment, or at least some of them, and we're not going to worry about what those are just yet. Just kind of think of the Bill of Rights of the United States and let's move on and see how it worked. And then we're going to go back and say, oh yeah, so here's the Enlightenment and here's what it was. And remember those guys who tried to implement it? This is what they were trying to implement. So yeah, that can, again, pose a problem. Challenge number 5. Period 4 is a complete mess. It covers the shortest amount of time, 1914 to the present, but it has us doing some amazing things. And if you don't mind, I'm going to put on my glasses for this one because I want to walk you through exactly what we're asked to do in Key Concept 4.1. All right? This is one key concept of the whole thing. We're supposed to introduce the causes and the entire war of World War I. We're going to talk about the peace negotiations that happen at Versailles and the repercussions of those with the League of Nations and all of that. We're then going to go through and talk about the interwar period where the economy falls apart and you've got German inflation and you've got the rise of fascism and dictatorships and all of that. We're then going to dive in and talk all about World War II, the entire course of the war and what happens there. Then we're going to talk about the Cold War division between East and West. we're going to then go on and talk about that, hey, later on there's this move to pull together in Europe. We're going to talk about the Eurozone. We're going to talk about the Euro. Gosh, you might even start talking about the Greek debt crisis that just happened or is still ongoing. Then we're going to talk about nationalist and separatist movements, starting with Ireland and going all the way through Bosnia and Kosovo. And finally, we're going to then talk about the entire process of decolonization throughout the world. That's key concept 4.1. Now, you think you've been jumping around before? This one's going to have you jumping around a lot. So that can be a challenge. So those are 5 challenges that I see with the new curriculum redesign. I'm sure there are probably more. I'm sure everybody has their input. So if you'd like to comment and talk to me about some of the challenges you're facing in getting ready for this school year, please make some comments down in the comments section below, and I'll try and address them and, give you my opinion on this sort of thing. But if this is helpful, if you haven't attended a summer institute, if you need help with this curriculum, subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be making more videos in which I'm going to go through and look at this redesign more and more and more in depth. I'm going to be creating videos not just for teachers, but also explaining some of the things to students. And of course, I'm going to continue creating content videos that can be used in the classroom to help explain some of the concepts that we need to teach, because we need to teach them. Anyway, my name's Paul Sargent. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.